Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessie, and today I'll be reviewing the MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 milk jug that is retailed at only around £15. MHW-3BOMBER was very kind and provided a unique discount code which I will put in the description box below. So make sure you use that during checkout to get 10% off. Their 5.0 range has 6 color and 4 size options to choose from. I received 3 jugs from them, each in a different size and color. The first one is a 500ml jug in matte blue. This matte blue looked really good in real life and the paint looked very high quality. I absolutely loved the logo engraving as well, and you can also see it from the inside of the jug. The 5.0 jugs have a big round spout. The second one is a 700ml jug in Glossy Silver. Again, the jug looks absolutely great. Engraving on the bottom. The spout on this jug is slightly bigger than the one on the 500ml jug. I got their largest size to test out how good the spout is for pouring complex patterns. So make sure you watch until the end of the video to see how the jug performs. The third one is a 600ml jug in matte off-white. I think this is definitely my favorite color of the range. The paint is pretty thick, so I don't imagine it getting scratched easily. Here is a lineup of the jugs and their weight. The painted jugs will be slightly heavier than the ones without paint, so if you prefer a lighter jug, I'd recommend you to go for the Glossy Silver. All 3 jugs have the same handle width, which is 1.8 centimeters. The jugs have a wide and short shape, reducing the chances of milk spillage when you steam and swirl. All 3 jugs have the same round spout design, but the width of the spout increases with the size of the jug. The handle and spout was well aligned. At the same price range, Rhino jugs are not only a lot heavier, but also has alignment issues. I'm very impressed so far with this jug being only £15. Let's bring in some other jugs for comparison. The MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 is of course not in the same price range as Adacrew Nasty, both retailed over £70, but it's worth noting the main difference between a £15 versus £70 jug is that both Nasty and Adacrew have a smaller round spout that is also slightly smoothed out. This allows better control of milk flow. The spout is also fairly vertical, which especially helps with pouring dry foam. The MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 has a very wide and round spout that is not really smoothed out. It also has a more diagonal spout. A spout with a bigger angle essentially helps you to be able to push more, but the downside is that you will need to be more precise with your movements. Similar to Nasty, Adacrew Spaceman also has a smoothed out round spout. At this point, I had doubts about how the MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 will perform in terms of definition and contrast. Let's take a closer look at the spout. The spout on these jugs seem to be way better than Rhino's in my opinion. The MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 has a fairly straight and angled handle. The shape of the handle feels nice. The handle is definitely small hand friendly. All 4 of my fingers sit nicely on the flat surface of the handle. I realized that the width of the handle is slightly wider than the handles on my other jugs. My other jugs' handles are 1.5 to 1.6 centimeters, whereas this one is 1.8 centimeters. I have small hands, so a wider handle means I need to make bigger wrist movements. Hand feel wise, the MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 and Nasty Jug feel quite similar. With the same volume, the painted MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 is slightly heavier than the Nasty. So far, I feel like the MHW-3BOMBER 5.0 is a great substitute to the Nasty Jug. But before I make a conclusion, let's see how it performs with latte art. This is the first time I poured with this jug, so I don't expect myself to pour great latte art. I realized that you need to be more delicate when mixing as the spout is quite big. The pattern came out centered, and that means the jug has good spout and hand alignment. I have to say I was very impressed by the contrast between the coffee and the milk. Let's see how the jug performs by pouring a Rosetta. I'm expecting the jug to perform better at pouring tulips than Rosettas because of the extremely round spout. Again, it was a bit hard for me to get used to how much milk this jug poured out while mixing. I was actually super impressed by this Rosetta. There was a good amount of contrast between the milk and espresso. Overall, I'm super impressed by this jug. You could see pretty defined layers here. I did get uneven spacing between the layers. Because the width of the spout is quite wide, it requires you to have more accuracy with your movements, which is a good thing, so you'll be able to build good habits while using this jug. For me, the most important thing is whether this jug is good enough for complex patterns. I'm skeptical since I feel like I might struggle with controlling the flow rate. For this pour, I'm going to draw a pattern that I designed that requires quite a lot of technique. This was my first time pouring a complex pattern with this jug, so excuse my pour. As I expected, I found that the transition between a large to small flow rate was a bit difficult due to the width of the spout. I'm going to give the same pattern another go and see if I encounter the same issues. Tulip definitely came out bigger than I wanted. Again, the flow rate to end the Rosetta was a bit hard to control. I felt the limbs came out thicker than I wanted. I don't think it's the best jug for pouring complex patterns, mostly because of the width of the spout. I'm pretty sure you can pour complex patterns with this jug, but you'll probably need to put in more effort than using a more expensive jug. For the last pour, I'm going to pour a Seahorse. Again, I had some issues with mixing. I feel like it was a bit hard to control how much milk came out. Just like my previous pours, the tulip came out bigger than I expected. I did feel like the jug wasn't great at holding the milk or foam back at the end of the pour. It might be because my milk wasn't good enough, but I definitely felt dropping dry foam felt very hard to control compared to my other jugs. Overall, I think these are great jugs and I definitely recommend them based on the quality and how affordable they are. The spout creates good contrast and helps you build good habits. However, they might not be the best choice for complex patterns. They are definitely suitable for everyday use, at work, or at home. I hope you enjoyed my review today and comment down below if you have any questions about these jugs.